the men's basketball account post that game-winning buzzer beater that Malachi had. Just talk about working with them so far. Obviously, you're not full go, but just that moment working with them.
For sure. I've been enjoying being able to be able to practice, see the energy, see how the guys are, forming up, and it's been a great environment so far. I've been really enjoying working with and getting to know all the people here.
And how cool was it getting those Kobe Venice Beach?
Oh yeah, we needed those. That's what winners get. I'll take it.
Obviously, people have been asking you every day, every month since the injury, but, how are you feeling physically, mentally? How's the knee holding up as you continue through the summer?
Yeah, I've been feeling great. I've been progressing pretty well. I've been trusting the trainers and the coaches to try and get me right. Mentally, I've just been kind of focusing on the next step and kind of also focusing on the moment. And yeah, I've been feeling really good.
And not to, talk too much about a bad moment, but walk us back to kind of how it happened, what was going through your mind, and then how much you've kind of grown from there.
Yeah, well, it happened when we were playing against Kansas State, I believe February 23rd. Was kind of loaded up for a dunk. I got pushed a little bit in the back, and my knee collapsed in. In the moment, I didn't really think too much of it. I was just trying to, get back in the game. But, obviously I did end up tearing it. But I never really was too down because I know, again, that was late in the season. I'd have a lot of time to recover. And dwelling on things doesn't really help you get better. I was always focused on the next step and trying to build myself and see what I could do to get better faster. So it was never really too down for me.
And it's pretty obvious what that next step will be for you. How have you seen Coach Pope, the players, kind of help you get prepared for that next level so far, even though, you're just 50% or whatever?
Well, for sure. I haven't been able to do all the reps that everybody else has been able to do, obviously, but I've been watching, observing, taking notes, learning the plays, learning the actions, and just kind of getting adapted to the play style, getting adapted to the way the coaches think, and I feel like that's going to prepare me really well for when I am able to go 100% and help contribute on the floor.
I know it's still a few months away, but do you feel like you're on schedule to maybe start at the beginning of the season? Will it be a bit later? Do you have any kind of idea what your timetable might be?
It's really just trusting the trainers and coaches to try and get me back at 100%. They really are invested in my future and what I could do to help here, and they don't want to rush me to get back before I'm ready. So just trusting them all the way through.
You talked a little bit about Malachi and working with some of the guys. Obviously, whenever you get back, very big time player, Brandon Garrison, penciled in starter, played a lot of minutes last year. Malachi's obviously a 5-star McDonald's All-American. So kind of talk a little bit how nice and how good can this front court be, these big men, whether it be blocking shots, scoring on offense and stuff like that.
For sure. Well, BG has already been really well adapted to the offense, and I've been able to see how he's able to go at everybody during practice. I'm really excited to see what we can do. I got to play against Malachi since I was in 6th grade, so I've been really familiar with him, seeing him at all the All-American events and things like that. So I'm really excited for what we could be. I feel like Coach Pope is going to bring the best out of us, show all the versatility that we have, and have a higher impact on the game, play a little faster. So I feel like we're going to have a really good front court this year. So
last year the team struggled a bit with defense. The offense was good, shot a lot of threes and stuff like that, but couldn't get stops against teams like Alabama and stuff like that. But when we talked with Mo and Denzel a couple weeks back, they were saying this team's defense is going to be really good. Guys like you blocking shots in the back, but also guys like Otega, Muhammad, Denzel on the ball. So how good, honestly, could this team be defensively?
I feel like we could be one of the best defensive teams in the country. We have a really long team. We have a lot of height and length on our team, and everybody's buying in. Everybody's committing. We have people pushing full court, guarding full court. We have people in the backcourt, in gaps, in help, in rotation. So I feel like we have a really good chance to be special this year defensively.
You spoke about Brandon and Malachi a second ago. You've obviously had a bit of a unique perspective, just kind of watching on the side a bit more when they've gone through summer practice and stuff so far. What's impressed you the most about those two guys? What elements of their game or their personality have you maybe even already started to absorb since you've been here?
Just their motor and their kind of aggressiveness on offense and defense, just wanting to be there and having an impact on every possession. I feel like that's the biggest thing I've been picking up on so far.
Jaden, you had the unique opportunity to be committed or to talk to Kentucky once and then twice again with Mark Pope. So what was that selling point? Because I feel like most people were kind of shocked when he committed.
Well, just, they kind of had their team set up. I got to see what it looked like, get to trust in Coach Pope's offense, see, how I could fit into that better. And I feel like the squad that we have here has a really good chance to win a national championship. And obviously we weren't as competitive as I would have liked to be last year. So I feel like we have a chance to do something really special here, and I feel like I have a chance to flourish in offensively and defensively here. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we're going to have a really interesting year and hopefully get to number 9. That's the goal.
What jumped out to you? I mean, I'm sure I don't know if you were watching Kentucky games last year because you were busy, but just watching film and kind of understanding how Coach Pope likes to run offense, defense, all that stuff. What just jumped out to you and made you feel comfortable with the decision to come commit here?
Just the freedom and space they play with. Like, they play fast and they play with space, which is, like an NBA type of play style, and it's been working really well for them. They got to the Sweet 16 last year. They've been putting up 100 points in multiple games, which is really hard to do in college. So Coach Pope has a really effective offensive scheme, and I feel like if everybody buys in, we could be really special with it.
Watching that kind of film, was there anyone from, obviously you're a unique player in your own right, but watching film from last year's team, was there anyone that you kind of imagined like, oh, I could slot into this guy's role from last year or emulate what this player from last year's team did in your first season at Kentucky?
Yeah, they've been showing me a lot of film on, BG, just kind of how he's able to space the floor, be outside the three-point line, catch and shoot shots, make passes, things of that nature. I feel like he showed me a lot of that.
How are you guys bonding as a team? Are there some activities that you're doing that kind of stand out to you?
Well, we went bowling last week. We've been doing a lot of, team bonding stuff. We've been staying together at the lodge. I feel like everybody here likes each other. We've been in the locker room talking. We've been doing the running stuff, which kind of helps us, buy in together. So I feel like everybody's making a conscious effort to try and get to know each other and be a part of the team. And I feel like that's going to help set us apart.
We've heard a bit about this Pop-A-Shot game. Could you give us a rundown of what's happening with that?
All right, so in the lodge, we have it's like the arcade, the little arcade basketball machine. They have a little mini hoop, and everybody's been trying to get the highest score on that. I think right now I think Braden has the highest score right now, but Mo's been really good. It's just been really competitive. We have a lot of competitors on this team, and I feel like, again, with the bonding, I feel like that's been a big part of just trying to connect with each other, and doing things like that is gonna show up on the court for sure.
Yeah, where are you on the list?
Where am I on the list? I got some wins. Don't sleep. I've been hitting shots. We've been building. I'm competitive still.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been a guy who's been on mock drafts for years now, but in one of the latest ones, Cam was on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like Otega and stuff like that, we expect to be there too, but talk a little bit about what Cam could potentially do in 1 season, 2 seasons here at Kentucky before maybe playing in the NBA.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to surprise a lot of people. 6'7", really athletic, can get downhill, get on the rim, really good shooter, like a really consistent, high arc shooter. So I feel like he has all the tools, offensively and defensively, that he needs to get where he wants to go, and I feel like he's going to surprise a lot of people. He's going to be major for us this year.
You talked about playing with Malachi when you were younger. Obviously, you played a lot with Jasper, had that Team Thad connection. Can we expect to see that on the court this year?
Definitely. We're going to surprise a lot of people again. Jasper, me and him, we were 10-2 in the EYBL while we were there. We were number 1 in the EYBL. Just really effective. He's a really good scorer, able to find people. And Malachi, just competing against him, iron sharpens iron, just seeing kind of how that's been building. I'm excited to, once the season gets started, when I'm able to play, see what it looks like when we're on the court together. So it's going to be really exciting for sure.
Do you feel like you're a little bit closer with those guys? Because technically you would be a freshman now because you skipped a grade in high school. So do you feel like because you're the same age, you're a little bit closer with those guys?
Yeah, I definitely started off with that connection and was a little closer with them. But again, everybody on this team has been making a conscious effort to get to know each other better and build as a team. And I feel like I'm getting to know everybody a little bit more the more we've been here.
And then you'll be turning 18 in a couple days, so first off, happy early birthday. And secondly, just playing the entirety of last season at age 17, obviously youngest player in college basketball. What do you think you took the most from that experience going up against, grown men at such a young age, and what can you take from that freshman year to translate into this year once you're healthy?
For sure, just never being afraid of the moment, always being able to play to the level and not fearing any matchups. I've been younger than everybody my whole career. I've always played up and got to go against a lot of older people who are on paper supposed to be more skilled, and going up against that challenge. So I feel like that's probably the biggest thing, playing with confidence and not being afraid of matchups.
We've seen a couple guys kind of do what you did, flag fears this past season. What was maybe the most difficult thing about being in college at 17 and skipping a grade of high school?
Weights was probably the biggest difference. I never really lifted weights. Even still there, I didn't lift it as much, so kind of adapting to that. But otherwise, on the court, I felt pretty comfortable because I did prep for all of high school, which was pretty enjoyable for me. But yeah, I feel like that's probably got to be the biggest change for me personally.
Jaden, obviously with the injury, you're not being able to do too much, but just kind of what have you been trying to work on this offseason to kind of prepare for when you do get that green light?
Just doing a lot of free throws, working on a lot of form stuff, get my shot a little bit more consistent, and focusing on learning the terminology, learning where to be on offense and defense, how to space the floor, what to look for in the offense. I feel like those are things that are going to be really helpful for me to flourish next year.
And then obviously you're a defensive phenom yourself, but there's a lot of great defenders on this team. What's the capability that this team has when it comes to defense?
We have a chance to be great defensively this year. We have one of the biggest and longest teams in the country, and I feel like that's gonna, kind of pop out in the games a lot. I feel like everybody's buying in, and we have people pressing full court. We have people in gas, people in help, and the way we rotate, I feel like we're gonna surprise a lot of people defensively.
Is that something Pope has kind of gone in on, pressing and kind of making sure that you guys work on that?
Definitely, he made a big onus on kind of filling the gaps that were left last year defensively and try and improve and be better on that side of the ball.
What about your game defensively? What kind of skills? It seems like you've got a knack for blocking shots and everything like that. Talk about your game defensively.
Defensively, the biggest thing on defense for me has always been effort, trying to impact the game however possible, whether that's pressuring the ball, making people uncomfortable, being in passing lanes, trying to get steals that way, just doing whatever you can to make the offense uncomfortable. I feel like that's probably the biggest aspect of defense that I try to focus on.
Jay, when you and Jasper were playing AAU together 2 years ago, did y'all talk or visualize about maybe why they playing together in college or the next level above this or anything?
Yeah, definitely. We talk about it because we were so successful. We all kind of talked about it. It was really interesting. I met with him at USA when we did the camp for 18U. So I've been around him a lot, and that was definitely a point of conversation. Even this year, through social media and online, he was just talking to me, trying to get in my ear, talk about returning to Kentucky, and he was a big part of my decision to come here.
Did you pay more attention to him when he was telling you something than maybe somebody else?
Maybe a little bit, but he was definitely one of the first guys to, reach out and try and get me out here. So that was a big part of it for sure.
How good does it feel to be out here? Because I know initially a lot of people thought you were coming here out of high school and kind of took a detour, but how good does it feel to be here now?
It's definitely great to be back. It's a little different when I first committed, but I really trust in what Coach Pope has going here. I really trust in the guys that we have here, and I'm really excited for the things that we could do here. I think it's going to be a great time, and I'm really excited to see, what this run looks like. I really feel like we have a great chance to win number 9, and I'm super excited.
When you say what Coach Pope has going on here, what do you mean by that?
Just how he was able to transform the offense next year, scoring multiple 100-point games. Play with speed, play with pace, and surprise so many people. There's a lot of questions about what it would look like with a new guy coming to run the program. And the first year he made it to the Sweet 16. That's really hard to do. So I trust that with him being able to recruit the way he wanted to this year and the team that he put together, that we have a chance to win it all.
What would you say were the biggest differences in navigating the recruiting process as a high schooler and then as a transfer?
I feel like just being in it makes it a little different, kind of having more film, being able to watch and see what works in college basketball. I feel like that was probably the biggest difference from college to high school.
You've probably been asked about your timetable, but I just got here. So what's kind of your timetable with getting back to full health and all that kind of stuff?
Just continuing to trust the coaches, trust the people around me, trust the trainers to get me back to 100%, and whenever that is when they want to put me back on the court. So just continuing to trust them.
Is it feeling better? I mean, are you able to move around, do a little bit more each day, or?
Yeah, every day is feeling better. Just trying to get back to feeling right, get back to 100% is the main thing right now.
You've worked all your life to be a great athlete, and then you get hurt, and it's like a different foreign part of your body doesn't work. What is it like mentally and emotionally to deal with that? You can't do what you want to do or what you're used to being able to do right now.
Yeah, well, mentally, the way I've always been, I try not to dwell on things. I try to look to the future and look to where I'm able to improve and how I can be better. So I never really was too sad. It was always just, all right, what's the next move? How do I get better? What do I got to focus on to be the best version of myself and come back stronger than I was before?
Jay, do you ever stop and think that how young you are? That you could be playing high school sports here in Kentucky right now instead of being a sophomore here in Kentucky? Does that even go through your mind?
Not really, just because I've been playing up against older people since I was 8. It's been my whole life. Playing basketball in school, I've always been with older people. I was always the youngest in the group, so it's kind of natural to me now.
What's kind of the bond like with you guys? Because you young guys, old guys, transfers. What's kind of that group bond like right now?
It's like a brotherhood, really. Like everybody's working. We're all, kind of buying in, get to know each other better. Competing and everything. That's been a big part of it. Just like lighthearted competing, things like that. Just trying to buy in and get to know each other better. It's been really fun so far.
And has anybody surprised you with their game? But maybe you didn't know them well before you got here.
Has anybody surprised me? Just the level of activity that BG plays would surprise me a lot. That was really interesting to see.
What about with Coach Pope? I know obviously it's one relationship when a coach is recruiting you and in meetings and offices and stuff, but having your perspective, watching him run practices so far this summer, what kind of jumps out to you about being in the gym when Coach Pope is leading things?
He's just so passionate about the game. It's just been a beautiful thing to see that he cares so much about seeing everybody get better and seeing the pieces fit together. That's been probably the thing that stuck out to me the most.
Jay, what do you mean by Brandon's level of activity? Explain that for somebody like me.
Like he's been playing like really hard, making passes, just impacting every play. Like every play is getting touches, trying to get other people involved. Like he's been a very good kind of leader, having been here last year. Those are the things that stuck out to me the most about him.
Jaden, the TBTs are right around the corner. Last year's team got to do a lot of things with them. What are you most looking forward to? Is there maybe a certain player that you're looking forward to kind of getting some knickknacks from?
The TBT, I haven't seen too much about that yet, but I'm excited to kind of be around that environment and just see what that looks like. It's going to be very interesting for sure.
Maybe get some pointers from Willie Cauley-Stein. He was one of the greatest defenders to come through here.
Nah, if I get the chance, definitely just kind of get in their ear, pick their brain, see what tips they have. I haven't been to where I'm trying to go. That's going to be an interesting thing for sure.
Brandon talked about improving his passing like Amari did last year. Have you seen improvement? Well, of course you weren't here last year, but what's it been looking like in practice with Brandon being one of the big supercats?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so far he's been showing off a lot of passing, being able to hit guys on back cuts, be patient, play off 2 feet, and make reads has been a really big thing that he's been working on in practice and he's been showing so
Is
far.
that something you see yourself doing well?
Yeah, definitely. For sure, because we have so much space here. The coaches make it so basically it's a large focus on cutting, filling space, getting to the rim, and trying to play that way with space. So I feel like I'm going to have a lot of opportunities to show off my passing game for sure.
What maybe has stuck out to you the most about Cam?
Just the physical tools that he has. He's a really good shooter, really athletic. He's able to get downhill, and I feel like he's going to be he's been a huge underdog so far, and I feel like he's going to be a huge part of what we have going this year. I feel like he's going to be a very large impact.
Is he physical enough to go up against somebody like you?
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I haven't practiced against him yet, but he's been looking good so far.
You talked about knowing Malachi from back in the day. How have you seen his game grow? And Cam was talking about how elite of a shot blocker he is. Sorry about that. Can you just talk about what you've seen from his game and how you've seen it grow from the younger days?
Well, I mean, he's growing in every aspect. Because again, the first time I played against him was like 6th grade, so he's gotten more athletic, stronger, taller, more skilled. Like he become a really great player. Again, McDonald's All-American. That's a really difficult thing to do. So I feel like he's been going to be a huge part of what we do this year, and it's been fun to see him grow.
Have you ever been a part of just such a deep team? It seems like everybody on this roster is going to get minutes or can get minutes. Is that crazy to be a part of such a deep team?
This is definitely the deepest team I've been a part of, and I'm really excited to see what we can do because everybody from 1 to 15 can make a really large impact on the game.
You probably answered this earlier, this is the second lane, but what was it like to suddenly get here and suddenly be swept up with a BBN?
I mean, the fan love here, even before I committed, was crazy. So getting to actually be in it and be in Lexington and see all the faces has been a great time. Just being in the community more, I've had a really great experience with it.
What has happened to you out in the community?
Nothing too crazy, a couple pictures, a couple autographs, but it's definitely a lot of love here for basketball, and that was probably one of the biggest aspects of why I decided to be a part of BBN.
Is there a favorite thing to do around Lexington for you?
Well, I'm in the house most of the time. I try not to do too much. Just focus on, getting my knees swollen down and everything. Just try and get back to 100%.
Timetable for you?
No timetable yet. Just trusting in the coaches and all the trainers to try and get me back to 100% as soon as possible.
You called Brandon a leader there a few questions ago, and he talked about the role Amari played in developing him, being kind of a mentor for him, and how he hopes as a veteran he can kind of take on that mentorship role. As you're kind of learning this scheme, learning this team, not being able to go 100%. What kind of role has he played in mentoring you?
Just talking me through things, helping me learn the terminology, learn the plays, and leading through example, again, through the practices. Just watching how he relocates on offense and defense, how he's a big talker, just making sure everybody knows what's going on. It's been a really big part of my learning experience so far.
Were you sad you didn't get to do all that conditioning that they did early on?
Well, I mean, they're not sparing me. I'm gonna have to do it when I get back, sadly. So, I'm not missing too much. I'm gonna enjoy it from the sidelines while I can.
Good
One
call.
of your teammates, I can't remember who it was, told us that you've been on the sideline saying, nice shot, but that wouldn't be a bucket if I'm back on it.
Oh, I mean, I was leading in block shots for a while. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say too much, but yeah, it's gonna be really fun when I get to be back on the court and just see what it's like to actually be there and compete against these guys. I'm really excited to see how it meshes together.
Did you have much chance last year to check out what UK was doing here?
I seen a little bit, but they were in a different conference, so we didn't get to watch too much film. We didn't watch too much film and see too much of what they were doing until after the season.
What did you hear about?
I mean, multiple 100-point games, Sweet 16 team. They're a really good team last year, and their offensive scheme was really impressive. You hear a lot of good things about them last year for sure.
When did you first start considering coming here?
Well, I tried to. It was really mostly after the season, after everything has settled down a little bit more, and when Coach Pope and Jasper and all those people reached out, just kind of seeing that I feel like how seriously that they felt that I could help make an impact and contribute to this team. I feel like that was when I started to look here a little more.
And then speaking of game film, is that something that you're really focusing on right now, making sure you learn the offense that way since you can't be really on the court right now?
Definitely, just watching what they did well last year, where I might have fallen short, and just how I can improve and how I can fit into their schemes on both sides of the ball.
Was there a player growing up, or maybe your first memory of Kentucky basketball that you can remember, like a guy that's in the league or out of the league that you've kind of watched?
Probably Karl Anthony Towns is a real versatile big, or Anthony Davis. I feel like he plays in a way that's pretty similar to me. Really good defensively, plays with that level of physicality and intensity. I feel like I try and model after that, and then he's also to be able to be a force on the offensive side of the ball as well.
New coach was a pretty versatile big guy back in his playing days. Is that nice for you to play for a guy that's almost as tall as you are?
Yeah, it's very different, but I've been enjoying it. He's been able to, give me pointers, give me tips, and he's been there and done that. So that is always good knowledge, and he knows so much about the game. It's been really interesting to pick his brain and talk to him about what he feels that I need to work on and how I can improve my game.
How much of a selling point was that, if it was at all, just the fact that your coach, Coach Pope now, is a guy who played at Kentucky, won a national championship, played in the league, has a lot of the experiences that you're hoping to have in your college career?
For sure. I always enjoy playing with player coaches because they're able to kind of understand and empathize with what they're doing, and they're able to know what it's like through their eyes, what they're trying to do. So I always enjoy playing under player coaches. I played under a player coach last year, and I feel like it's going to be really fun this year for sure.
Your game, I watched some of your Arizona State game. You can step out and shoot the three too. How much of a draw is that Pope basically gives everybody a green light to shoot if they're open?
For sure. I mean, the ball moves so much. There's so much energy on the ball when, things get in motion. And, there's a lot of swing passes and things going on that way. So I feel like I'm going to be able to show off a little bit more in my shooting and passing. I feel like that's going to be a very big part of how I progress this year for sure.
What were those first conversations with Coach Pope like, and were you prepared for that level of energy that he brings to the table?
Yeah, for sure. He's very passionate whenever he talks about basketball. It's been cool to kind of. You heard the news. Were you disappointed? It's been cool to kind of lean off that and see from his eyes what he sees about me through the game. So it's been interesting so far.
Any surprises?
Any surprises? Not yet. We're still early in the summer though, so we're gonna see. He might have some stuff once I get back on the court. That'll surprise me a little bit more, but it's been pretty straightforward, and I've been enjoying the process.
Are there any?
Learn much having to be on the sideline? I mean, almost through the eyes of a coach. The fact that you have to observe in a different way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been watching film and doing things that way, so that's been another way that I've been learning. But watching from the sideline, just seeing what guys are doing, just visually, I feel like that's really helped me memorize some of the things and being able to picture what I'll be able to do or where I'll be at during those sessions has been very helpful and impactful for me.
Like mental reps, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
The schedule this year is one of the best that I can remember in a long time. Are there any games in particular like, oh, I'm looking forward to this game, can't wait till this game, kind of thing?
Well, Louisville, I'm really excited for the energy that's going to be in that game. That's always a fun one. And all the fans look forward to it, so I'm looking forward to that game for sure. Other than that, Florida, they got us last year, so that's going to be a fun one again.
Obviously, you described him right there. It sounds like you.
Those are the first two that come to mind when I think of games I'm looking forward to.
Cool. Kind of showing him the ropes.
Huh?
Kentucky beat Florida last year.
Oh, no, I lost to Florida last year. Personally, so I owe one.
There you go.
Been lying to you. Is everyone good?
Yep, we're good. Thanks, Jaden.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate you guys.
Being with my teammates every day, practicing pretty much every single day of the week, and really getting better is the goal for us, trying to get number 9, so like, working hard every day.
You talk about getting to know the teammates. How have you guys been building the chemistry? We've been seeing the bowling stuff, but what other stuff are you guys doing to build that chemistry?
Really, we just, compete, play fives every day, like play video games, go to the mall, go eat together, stuff like that. So just finding anything outside of basketball to really build a bond is very important for the team.
Is there a certain player on the team that you've gotten closer with?
I would say Ortega the most, only because I want to be pretty much as good as I want to play as he is, so I try to play him as much as I can to I would say upgrade pretty much every basketball aspect that I can.
What about his game appeals to you?
Really, he's just strong, man. He really knows how to attack a defense and different gaps in the defense, so I kind of just try to pick up on any type of play style that he may have that's not my game and try to apply it.
How would you describe your game right now and then where you want it to be maybe a year or 2 years down the line?
I would just say, three-point shooter, defender, really just a person who works hard and tries to outdo pretty much the opposing team. You can say anything that coach needs me to do, I'm willing to do it. So you can really label that as anything.
How does your game right now fit into the system Pope has? Because it seems like you're kind of a perfect fit. How does your game kind of fit into that? What skills do you bring?
I would say, coach, he really needs shooters and defenders pretty much, and my prototype kind of shooting and defending. So I would say I fit that category pretty good.
You kind of had that 3-and-D label. Do you embrace that, or is there stuff other to your game as well that you want to try and show off more while you're here at Kentucky?
I would say that I would embrace that role more, because that's what's getting the attention that, it's being brought right now. So there's no point in really obviously I'm going to try to upgrade my game, but I would say what got me here, I'm going to stick to it.
Take us back to that, your commitment. It was the morning of the NCAA tournament game. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise that you committed so early in the process. Just why was that the right time, and why was Kentucky the right fit?
I would say that I noticed that they have a lot of seniors and a lot of players that are leaving, and I know that I couldn't fit the play style that Coach Pope has, so I didn't want to waste no time and let other people kind of jump in my spot pretty much. I really think I can capitalize on that specific game.
You talk about being a defender. There's so many great defenders on this team. What's the capability that you guys have as a defensive team?
I feel like we can all switch 1 through 5. We got the guys to do it, and really coach emphasizes on playing hard defense and not really letting the offense kind of get what they want. So we just kind of disrupt what they're trying to do and be able to mess with us for it.
Have you formed a chemistry defensively with anybody yet, where you're kind of getting to learn their tendencies and getting to know them pretty quickly?
I would say that I'm still getting to learn everybody, but I know that Malachi is a shot blocker, so I know that if I do end up getting beat off the dribble, I know he got me. So.
Are you guys kind of funneling people to him out there on the perimeter?
I wouldn't say that. I feel like everybody still try to guard him, man. But if it does happen, I know Malachi got it.
Keep hearing that Mark Pope's offense. We've seen it. Is it a little complicated, a little different? What's it like trying to fit into that?
It's really not too much. It's really just playing basketball at the end of the day. They try to give us I would say different sets for us to really just play basketball. All in all, it really is just basketball.
some of the guys last year said it was tough adjusting to the speed and volume that Coach Pope wanted them to get threes up with. That you literally had a green light basically as soon as you crossed half court. Has he been stressing that early, and have you noticed that? Do you envision something like that for you guys?
He has, I had a couple instances in practice where I didn't shoot it because I wanted to like kind of slow the ball down. And he got on me. We ain't gonna say what it was, but he told me be confident and shoot the ball. That's what he brought me here for.
It looks like your dad's really embraced BBN. What has it been like seeing that and those interactions?
Really, everyone loves him. He's doing TikTok dances and reposting stuff on Twitter and all that. Well, I'm glad that he's building a bond with BBN early, and we're gonna need that because we only in July. Still got over a year ahead of us, so it's good.
Have you noticed kind of a difference in kind of BBN, the kind of culture that it is? It's bigger than a lot of schools. Just kind of how everybody embraces you guys.
I remember whenever I committed, everybody was like tagging me in different stuff on Instagram, Twitter, texting me a bunch of stuff, and I wasn't expecting that to happen. But it shows that they really care about their players a lot.
What was your perception of Kentucky basketball before you got here compared to now?
I would say that they sent the most players to the league, and my goal is to get to the NBA. So I really thought that coming here to really help me ease my end goal pretty much.
What was your perception of Mark Pope before you got here? How has it changed?
I really didn't know like how he was as a coach at first because I was still, in mid-season, pretty much at my old school, so I wasn't really paying attention that much. But now I see that he really is, relaxed, cares about his players a lot, loves his guys, and he wants us to be great.
There's TBT around the corner. Last year, the team did a bunch of stuff with them. How excited are you to do that? And is there maybe a certain player on that team that you're looking to maybe form a bond with and learn some things from?
I'm excited to play. A lot of ex-pros, you could say, some are still pros, some are not, but really just they're all great basketball players. And I don't really know everybody on the team, but I will find somebody that I can try to, pick up on habits that I can use in my game.
Who was your favorite player from Kentucky?
Look, I like Kobe. I like Kobe Bryant because he can shoot the ball, and I really like how he fits the play style that's over here. So I really watched him a lot before I ended up coming over here.
You talked a little about coming in here and getting to know everybody and stuff, but how different was it conditioning-wise? Because this is totally different than anything you did in AAU ball or high school.
The conditioning at first, it was a little difficult. I think I missed it like the first 2 weeks. But the third one I did pass though, and I was so glad.
Dudes told you though, right? To be ready.
They told me, but I didn't think it was gonna be like that. No, it was good though.
What was your thought process after you committed so early? You were the first one from the transfer class. What was your thought process as more guys jumped aboard and you kind of saw this team come together?
I would just say that I was, happy that I did it early because, like I said, I didn't want nobody to take my spot pretty much. But as I kept seeing more people kind of, start enrolling here, it was just something that I seen that we could have built a great team here with the returning guys that are here. So Coach Pope really built a great team to help us get to that number 9.
Cam, just how good a shooter are you?
I shoot every day, so I try to shoot my best. I don't really know a number, but I really just say I work hard a lot at shooting, so I feel like I'm a pretty good shooter.
So you think it'll surprise people when they see just how good a shooter you are?
Right. I would say that most people might kind of doubt, the numbers or whatever, but I'm not really worried about the outside noise for real because I know what I'm capable of, so I'm gonna just try to exceed my own expectations.
What are your thoughts now about being an SEC player?
I don't really label it as nothing like, SEC, ACC, whatever. I would just say that it's still basketball at the end of the day. Like, we're trying to make it bigger than what it is because that's whenever, doubt and fear and all that come in. So I just want to keep humble, confident, and know I'm good at my abilities.
But it has been touted as the toughest league at least right now. What are your thoughts on that?
Like I said, it's still basketball, so I'm not really going to try to put it on a higher pedestal than what it is, because at the end of the day, it's something that I've been doing for 19 years, so I'm not going to make it worse than what it is.
What's the process for getting up to speed with Mark Pope's system? What are some of the steps that you went through to understand how he coaches? What does he expect from you?
I would say us, running harder in transition and stuff, and really picking up on the knowledge that he's giving us and learning kind of the day of that you learn. Because if you take longer than a day or two to learn certain concepts, then you're gonna fall behind from everybody else who's picking it up on it early. So really, just being a student of the game is gonna help you.
Have you learned anything from Mo already?
From Mo, I know how to dance bad. Mo's a terrible dancer, but
You mean you weren't already?
nah. I can do like better TikToks than Mo, but Mo cannot dance at all.
What about on the basketball court? Have you learned anything from it?
Mo, he's really like Ortega. Like they're both strong guards, and if you're not there early, they gonna bump you whenever they go into the lane. So I would say that their driving angles, those two are the ones that I'm trying to pick up on the most.
We've heard stories that, while he's watching you guys play, he's kind of rating the percentage chance of that being a basket if he were on the floor.
I mean, Mo's just Mo, you know what I mean? He's one of a kind, special guy, but I love him as my brother, and we gotta work hard as number 9 together.
Going back to not wanting to fall behind, obviously, how much are you leaning on Ortega, BG, Colin, Trent, guys who have been through this for a year and have seen Pope's system up close?
Ortega, he really been helping me the most because, like I said, he's a vet, so oriented to the team, so he kind of knows everything more than others. So if there's something that I am kind of questioning, I just ask him if he helps me right then and there.
Any other players stood out as three-point shooters for you guys? And then what is the upside when it comes to your all three-point shooting this year?
Everyone say that Trent can shoot, but whenever I seen it in person, you really can't shoot. Him, Jasper, Jalen, everyone on the team can really shoot for real, but it's just kind of disguised because people might look at it like, oh, he's a big, he's a forward, and don't think he can shoot, but everyone can really shoot. Mo can even shoot for real, but the numbers may say something different, but he can shoot the ball.
You mentioned Malachi blocking a lot of shots. What do you know about Jaden, and what do you think that's going to be like when he gets back to full speed now on the court?
JQ, he another shot blocker himself, but everyone seen that last year, and obviously recovering from the ACL injury. But I know when he gets back on the court, we'll have 2 players that can really defend the goal for us.
How good will the team be defensively?
I would say, like I said earlier, we can switch 1 through 5, so we can guard everyone. BG can switch on the guard if we need to. Mo can guard 1 through 5 too. I feel like this team is going to be a better defensive team than last year's team.
So if we had to describe who was going to be the dogs, who we looking at?
Everybody on the team.
What's harder in practice, trying to get past Ortega or Muhammad on the dribble, or when you get into the paint and you got guys like Brandon and Malachi blocking shots?
I would say trying to drive past Mo and Ortega because if you can't go around them, you're not getting to the goals for them to block it. So, and like I said, they're both very strong. They probably both 225, 230, and they kind of burly. So it's been difficult, but I'm trying to find different ways to do it.
Obviously, Mo coming from the SEC and Ortega doing it last year. There's a lot of guys that look like them in the SEC.
Right.
It's not just football anymore. Basketball's really like that. So how are you expecting the transition from Tulane, a little bit of a smaller conference, maybe shorter guys, skinnier guys? How are you expecting that transition to go?
It's been going great so far. Really just finding different ways to kind of attack driving angles and different closeouts and stuff like that. Getting stronger, getting faster. Because like you said, it is different competition in the SEC than the AAC. So, like I said, I'm just gonna keep working hard and trying to be the best that I can.
You mentioned the NBA draft, and you're on some lists in the preseason. Just what do you need to do specifically, you think, to maybe move up some of those lists by the end of this season?
I would really just say keep doing what I'm doing now because that's what got me here in the first place. So it's not really I wouldn't say there's no point in trying to step out of the comfort zone kind of thing, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If that makes sense.
How are you liking Lexington and all the crazy fans here?
It's good. The transition was first was a little different because everybody was telling me about horse riding and stuff like that. And Louisiana, we don't have that, so everyone was telling me about it. But I ain't really horse? Nah, never. I probably will never. I probably will never do that.
Getting back to the NBA, obviously shooting, length, athleticism. You got all 3. Fairly young too, just a sophomore. where do you see your game kind of transitioning to the NBA? Do you see yourself kind of being a 3-and-D type of guy? How can you maybe even grow your game?
Really, I can grow in every type of aspect, basketball, because I haven't perfected anything. So shooting, defense, IQ, just everything really needs to increase.
How much is being here helped in that regard so far?
It's great because, like I said earlier, they sent the most pros to the league in Kentucky guys. So like their culture and their coaching is going to help me get to the place that I want to be.
How nice is it to know that Coach Pope was, able to send 2 guys in the second round just a couple weeks ago?
It was great, I'm happy for them. They definitely worked hard. I could tell last year, they were definitely getting their shots up every single day, and I eventually want to be just like them or better. So I know that the coaching staff and the culture here has the power to send me to my end goal, and I'm just gonna keep working.
You mentioned Kobe. Does that kind of give you a template to follow this season, or maybe a combination of Kobe and Ortega, or just what do you like looking at last season's team? How do you kind of see yourself?
I always say like Kobe probably is like the majority player that I can kind of compare myself to, but comparing is like I wouldn't really try to compare me and him because like I'm my own person, he's his own person. So like I would say I would try to do different aspects of his game a little better and try to add it to my game.
You said it was tough trying to get past Ortega, Mo, and some of the other defenders, but who's been the hardest to guard in your perspective?
I'll say Jalen because he's fast. Like, he's just very fast, man. So like he can shoot. So if you really get all the way up, he's gonna blow by you. If you back up, he gonna shoot. But like that's pretty much everybody. So, but he is definitely like the quickest player we have.
How much have you played alongside of him, like on the same team and scrimmage, and what does he kind of bring from a point guard perspective as far as getting shooters open, getting other guys open?
Jalen, he's very good at getting to the paint, and if you're open, he will find you. So you always got to be ready because if you're not ready, he throw it to you, he gonna be mad. So,
what are some of the things you see that you guys are already good at?
Shooting the ball, playing defense, and everybody's IQ is high, so we kind of can pick up on different concepts fast.
You talked earlier about understanding, taking a day or so to understand how quickly is everybody understanding what Mark Pope is trying to do, and in his terminology and the way he phrases things and whatnot.
I would say everybody pretty much knows everything that he's talking about. They just use different words to describe it. So everyone already knows. Like some people say, like, all right, so in the corner you lift up. So they say lift, they say snap, a bunch of different things. So everyone's naturally doing it. It's just the words that's different. So everyone really picked up on it like the first day.
Jaden was talking a lot about him watching Brandon when he was on Arizona State last year, following him around, kind of watching him in practice. Has there been a guy on the team last year, Ortega, Colin, Trent, that's kind of helping you with that transition, with that terminology and stuff like that?
I would say Ortega and Trent, like mostly, because that's we're usually in the same group, so they kind of help me with like different things. But I'm starting to pick up on everything, like reminiscing.
Was there any part of your game at Tulane that you didn't really get to show off too much that you're looking forward to show off at Kentucky?
I feel like I showed everything, play my hardest every game, and I'm really just gonna keep doing what I'm doing because, like I said, it brought me here. So there's no point in trying to change anything if what's been working has brought me to like one step closer to my dream.
Is there any game you have circled on the calendar, and why is it at LSU?
I would say like at LSU, it's like a hometown game, so I might have like family and stuff there, but I don't really treat anybody higher than somebody else because like it's just basketball at the end of the day. So I'm still playing 5-on-5, so it's nothing different.
The men's basketball account posted the ending to the scrimmage today. We just talk about Malachi hitting that shot and just how your team felt.
Malachi kind of just threw it up. He didn't think he was gonna make it. He said after the fact that he didn't think he was gonna make it, but congratulations to him. But we go get him back.
Who's the best shooter on this team? You have like 5 3-point shooting contests. Who's the best pure shooter? Who hits the most?
I think I'm gonna win every single shooting contest we have.
Really?
It'll be me and then Trent and give my best competition.
So we can expect you to compete in Big Blue Madness in the fall?
Yeah, that's the goal right now. If God allows me to do it, but that's the plan.
Dunk contest as well?
I don't really have any tricks though, but you know what? I'm not gonna spoil anybody who is getting in the dunk contest, but we have a couple surprises.
Is there already talk about that, or are you just going off observations of who can dunk well in practice?
I can't disclose that.
Who taught you to shoot?
My dad, when I was younger, started playing basketball like 4 or 5, something like that. And ever since then, he's kind of been teaching me different mechanics to help me get my shot perfected.
What are some of the things you've had to maybe adjust over the years that have really helped you?
I would say shooting faster and like elbow high, OG follow-through, stuff like that.
Was he one of those guys who wouldn't let you shoot like further behind the 3-point or the free throw line when you were younger, so you don't mess up your form? You kind of shoot close to the basket before you can get that strength.
When I was younger, yeah, I had to stay in, like kind of stay in the paint, really get everything down. But as I got older and got stronger, he let me back up over the years.
When you entered the portal originally, did you know you wanted to come someplace like this, like a blue blood or like a high major school?
I wasn't really like looking for like a certain place. I was just trying to, give everybody like a fair shot, and I was gonna weigh out my options, towards the end when I felt like I was ready to make a decision.
What was the first conversation with Pope?
A little bit, yeah. He was saying that he loved my game, and he felt like the way that I play, he can put that in his system and make me a better player to help me get to that.
Obviously, you committed while Kentucky was still playing in March Madness. So how much were they able to kind of talk to you? Was that experience a little bit different, knowing that, you couldn't come visit and they couldn't come see you?
I would say it was a little different because normally, you come, visit here, you talk, and then make a decision. But I noticed that, they needed shooters. They had shooters on the team that were leaving. So I feel like I could have just filled one of those roles kind of fast, and then they can go recruit wherever they need it.
Since you were the first to transfer to go ahead and commit, was there somebody that came along after you and you saw him commit and say, "Hot damn, man, we're going to be good now"? Is there somebody really excited you?
I would say Jalen Love, because we played in the same AAU organization for Houston Hoops, and after I seen that they were kind of interested in him, I hit him up and I was like, might as well come over here. Needed a PG because my mom was leaving, and he's a great PG. So felt like that was probably like the person I reached out to first.
What are some of the things that you can give as advice to younger players that they can achieve something and get to a place like this?
I would say never let anyone tell you no. Never let anyone kind of kill your dream, because just because they can't reach it don't mean you can't. So work as hard as you can, and hard work beats talent, and God works.
On paper, probably shooting's probably the worst thing maybe this team has, even though I'm sure you disagree. So what would you say to Big Blue Nation about why we shouldn't worry about shooting this year?
I would say no one really has to worry about it because we work hard every day, even when the cameras aren't around, and everyone definitely puts in a lot of work to shoot the ball, dribble, play defense, stuff like that. So on paper it looks like that, but don't worry about the paper.
How much are guys in the gym outside of regular practice times, regular workouts?
Everyone's in there pretty much every single day. Before practice, after practice, late night. Cause it's 24-hour access for us to get in the gym. So you're only obligated to go the 1 hour for practice, but no one really is settling for that. Everyone kind of goes, before practice and after. Because it's summer, we don't really have any classes like that. We're not going anywhere traveling, so everyone could really put in work multiple times a day.
Who are some of those morning owls, and who are some of those late night guys who come in midnight and stuff like that?
Morning, I only know about Braden really. He's really. We have normally for summer we have practice at 10, stretch at 9. He's in here at 7:45, shooting, and then after he shoots again. So he's one in the morning, and then evening, night. Mo is the 9 p.m. kind of guy. If he's just laying down, he get bored, he come in and shoot. So that's pretty much how everybody is, but he's the only person who does it closer to that type of time.
Last week, some of the guys was talking about what their rating would be on 2K, and where would you be at?
I don't know a certain number. I would say somewhere in the 80s though. I don't know I couldn't give myself a specific number, so I would just say somewhere in the 80s.
What would your shooting rate be?
99. That's simple.
Is that catch and shoot or off the dribble?
Just like shooting in general. Gotta be 99.
When you heard the news, were you disappointed that you might not be in the game? I know you still got some years of eligibility left, but I'm sure that's not the plan.
Like I was seeing it on TikTok, right? And they said that they was coming out with a basketball game. So I sent it to them at the group chat. I was like, yeah, like we finna be in the game. Check the comments, 2028. So I was like, I ain't worried about it. I even unsent the message. I was mad.
So if there was a tournament amongst the guys, who's gonna take the crown?
It's not a question. I'm the best gamer on the team. 2K, Madden, NCAA. Any game like that, they can't beat me. Fortnite, everything.
Really?
They can't.
They said Jalen Lowe was the best Fortnite player.
No. He's not. I haven't lost a 2K game, haven't lost a football game. And I carry him in Fortnite every time. No one's beat me in a video.
What have you seen out of Braden so far? I feel like he's kind of the whispers. It feels like his name's being brought up more and more as the summer goes along.
Braden, you know, he works hard. Like I said, you know, he's shooting like 3 times a day. Well, 3 different times a day, you could say. But what stands out about him is like he can really shoot the ball, and like his arms are long. So like even if you get him with a move, he's still there. If you got 3 steps ahead of him, he's still there, and he can jump too. That's like an underrated thing in his game, but no one really talks about. But he can jump.
Obviously, you described him right there. It sounds like.